So whosoever is gaining by this capitalistic system, he has to protect that system anyhow. And he will have to go to any extent to guard their interests in this world. And they fear Islam only as a political, socio-economic system, not as a mazhab, not as a religion. They can keep all the religions at par in America, yes. You can make a Gurdwara, you can build there, go there. Hindus can build temples and go there. Whatever you do. But nothing doing. Our secular, liberal, and then our capitalistic system.
Can I just come back to this chart for a moment and perhaps pick up on something which we have touched on, and that is there are many texts in the world, many texts, many books in the world which people claim to be infallible. You know, conservative evangelicals such as George Bush and others would talk about the Bible in those sorts of ways. Certain Jews would talk about the Torah in those sorts of ways, the Bhagavad Gita, Tripitaka, and so you can go on. Can you just clarify, how do you know which is the book which is protected and immune from error and satanic influence? How do you know which book has that status?
That has to be a historical research. Quran throughout 14 centuries has remained as it was. Bible has not. There were revisions, changes. You know, Ahmed Didat, you know, he had this subject, specialized in that subject. Regarding Torah, the Jews also believe that the real Torah is no more there. It was destroyed or buried in the tunnels under that Temple of Solomon in the year 587, when Nebuchadnezzar had invaded and demolished that temple. So I can say this thing about my Torah and Injil only. Regarding the scriptures of the Indians, they are not sure who are the authors of the Upanishads, who were the authors of the Vedas. They are prehistoric type of things. But Quran, you know, is in the light of history, full light of history.
One other question about this chart, and that is, do you have any sympathy? There are some in Europe who argue that the rise of science, the rise of scientific learning, needed to emerge from a theistic and religious framework, because of course it's the assumption of faith that the world is ordered, which makes it possible for people to investigate it. So do you have any sense that actually you need religion to create the possibility of science?
I think this hypothesis is historically wrong. You know, the days of the Muslims, the Abbasids, they had the background of Islam and science, mathematics, you know, all these things, medicine, they flourished. We got those things from Greek sources and from Indians, developed them, and we had the background of belief in God and religion. And we transferred it to Europe through the universities of Cordova and Granada and Toledo. But because, you know, the rule of Pope in those days in Europe, which had prohibited science and philosophy both, that had created an anti-religious sentiment among the masses. So when science started developing, it had that anti-religious color in it. That is the real cause.
At superficial level, there seems to be a contradiction between science and religion. But I think what you were saying was that there is a continuity. The fundamental, foundational, philosophical assumption of science is that life in universe has an order. And this is a religious truth. So science built on that metaphysical idea and try to find out the nature of order in the universe. So all the developments in philosophy of science, particularly in physics, and I think Dr. Abdul Salam had this notion, and he was hammering it again and again, that whatever developments in modern physics are taking place, they are fundamentally derived from the notion of order that we inherited from religion. So that was probably,
Yes,
is that true?
that's exactly right, yeah.
So in that sense, there is no inherent contradiction between science and religion. But I want to go back to...
But I never said
Sure.
there is contradiction. These are two things side by side. I never said there is contradiction.
There's a difference between saying side by side and saying that
Yes, same.
it's built on that. There is a continuity. There is a qualitative linkage between the two.
No, but only one truth, that there is order in this universe, doesn't go to make it religion. The belief in one God, creator, that is the basis of it. And he is the guider to the right path.
That's why modern physics is going to the idea of trying to find a unified principle in the universe. Anyway, I want to go back to this whole, to the chart. That is the framework which is very lucidly articulated, and I really compliment you on that. My question is, you divide the human knowledge, what you call religious truth, into two categories: protected, which is immune from human error, that you describe as revelation, prophetic knowledge that we receive from the prophets. And the other is the knowledge that we gain from intuition, dreams, illuminations, and
ESP.
and also going to the right side of this chart, from knowledge from reason. My question is it possible to come up with a set of ideas independent from guidance from revelation that is capable of guiding us to the truth? Is it possible to reach the truth by sheer human reason? One. Secondly, is it also, when we say that the whole idea is to find the religious truth, is it possible to find this truth through several paths? For example, the whole idea of interfaith religious dialogue that is taking place in the West is that the fundamental religious reality is the same, and there are different paths, methods to find that truth. I'm not saying that it will not be subject to error, but I just want you to entertain the possibility, just the possibility,
Of
that there are certain other ways to find the truth, independent of prophetic guidance.
actually, to know God, there are so many ways and paths. But to know the path, straight path, that is by revelation only. And this revelation has been coming time to time. فَإِمَّا يَأْتِيَنَّكُم مِّنِّي هُدًى. And according to the mental or intellectual development of humanity as a whole, there was a development in that also, till it reached its zenith in the person of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we have to accept for the right path this revelation which has been given by Allah for the humanity, all of humanity, for all time to come. As you know, that Qur'an says, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا كَافَّةً لِلنَّاسِ بَشِيرًا وَنَذِيرًا. He is the only prophet who claimed that I have been sent for the whole of humanity. Even Jesus said, I have come to find the search of the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And Quran says, all prophets came for their own nations only. إِلَىٰ عَادٍ أَخَاهُمْ هُودًا وَإِلَىٰ مَدْيَنَ أَخَاهُمْ صَالِحًا, etc., etc. He is the only one who says, I have been sent for the whole of humanity.
So you do not that I can live a moral life on the basis of secular ethics?
Yes, you can live, it will be basic human morality. Basic human morality, to speak the truth, not to deceive anyone, not to rob, not to steal. These are things which Quran says they have been imbued